We'll now proceed for the lightning talks. Our first speaker is a VP Technology of DevCon. May I call on Mr. Bryan Bibat.
Hello, ako pala si Bryan, ang VP Technology ng DevCon. Anyway, bago sa lahat, yung first part kasi ng Campus DevCon, hindi lang na-introduce kanina is we're going to have lightning talks. These are very short talks, around 10 to 15 minutes long, on various topics. Basta related sa IT, basta yung we would find interesting sa inyo, na makaka-inform sa inyo ng mga bagay-bagay na kailangan nyo malaman as IT students or even kahit mga IT professionals na somehow na naligaw sa audience natin. Anyway, so right now I'm not here as the VP Technology of DevCon. I'm not here as the cameraman and tech guy. I'm here as an average developer, isang pangkaraniwang developer. Ay nga sinabi kanina ni Haifa, may trabaho kami, kaya kanina, nagising ako kanina alas 12 para matapos ko yung 8 oras ko ng trabaho bago ako pumunta rito. Anyway, so ang totoo ko ngayon is relevant dun. As an average developer, ako yung magiging kung ano kayo in a couple of years. Or hopefully, possibly, na makatrabaho kayo in a couple of years. So, ang totoo ko ngayon is all about kung ano yung mga bagay na kailangan nyo malaman. Pero kadalasan hindi nyo natututunan or hindi nyo na-encounter. It's something na to give you a preview kung ano yung dapat nyong e-expect. So, start ko lang yung time ko para hindi tayo masyado matagal. Hey, first, purpose. So, dito kayo sa college. Ano yung rason bakit kayo nandito sa college? Okay, well, alam naman natin kung bakit kayo nandito sa college kasi pag nag-graduate kayo, alam nyo kasi pag nag-graduate kayo, kuha kayong diploma, kuha kayong trabaho, kung makakuha kayong limpak-limpak na salapi. Actually, hindi yan. Hindi yun yung tanong natin. Ang tanong natin is, ano yung pinag-aaralan nyo rito? What are you studying here? So, again, that might be an obvious question. Mga IT kayo, mga CS kayo, I'm not sure kung ano yung audience. Puro CS ba? Puro IT? Ano ba? Combined. So, ano yung pinag-aaralan natin dito? Obviously, alam natin, computers, programming, and all of that. But, in actuality, ang ito yung purpose. First part na kailangan nyo malaman as students, IT students, is you're not just merely here to study about computers, you're not here about studying networking, programming, and all that algorithms. Kasi the whole IT industry is not about that. IT industry is about, well, first or foremost, information, technology kaya information, and more importantly, it's all about solving problems. Kasi kunwari ito, piloting, hindi naman tungkol sa eroplano yung pinag-aaralan ng mga piloto. Same thing, mga astronomers nila pinag-aaralan yung telescope. So again, ang sinabi natin, it's all about solving problems. Kasi nga, kunwari, public tayo dito sa astronomer, parang yun yung concept na inisip ng mga tao eh. Parang pag pumasok ka sa IT course, you're so focused on the computers, the algorithms, the coding part, you're forgetting the main reason why people look for IT graduates, why people look for programmers, which is, of course, to solve problems. So, ito lang yan Pag nag-graduate kayo, kailangan marunong na kayo mag-solve ng human problems effectively and efficiently gamit ng computers. The computer part is the last part, but the whole other parts, yun yung something to keep in mind na kailangan mas importante. And again, if nag-graduate kayo at di kayo marunong mag-solve ng problems gamit yung natutunan nyo sa mga computer, well, sinayang nyo lang yung oras nyo sa college. That's blunt, pero yes, yun yung mga main reason bakit hindi na-hire yung mga IT graduates right now because they don't have the skills to solve problems in an IT setting. Anyway, next, yun na yun. So, yun yung pinakauna kasi yun na yung pinaka-pressing issue kasi yun yung pinakamalaking sana misconception. And well, get it out of the way, let's move on to the other misconceptions which is languages. So question, ano yung pinaka-importanting language para sa isang IT graduate? See? So hint, ano siya? Nakikita siya sa lahat ng mga bagay. It's found everywhere. It's in your mobile phone. It's in your, and even from the smallest mobile phone to the largest financial institutions. So see, yeah. Actually, it's SQL. Another possible answer is English, pero that's for another talk. Pero tama, mas tama actually. Pero ang point here is, SQL is, yun nga, it's just your database, ano? Parang, ano eh, parang boring siya. It has nothing to do with programming. But in reality, pag pumasok kayo sa isang, even especially in an enterprise corporation, or you're dealing with financial institutions, government institutions, wala kaming pailam sa language na alam mo, mas importante actually ang SQL dyan. Because again, we're dealing with information, we're dealing with data, we're dealing with problems related to that data, and how do you get those problems, how do you get the data for those problems, dun yung SQL. Pero in actuality, medyo trick question siya eh. Parang ina-expect nyo, ano yung importante language? Kaya narinig nyo, mga C, Java, mga ganon. Kasi, yun nga, it's a trick question, kaya binigyan ko kayo ng trick answer. Ang reasoning bakit trick question siya is, usually when you think about bakit tinatanong yan, ano yung pinaka-importanting language, is kasi parang, ang follow-up doon is, kasi gusto kong maging blank programmer. Kasi yun yung dapat kong maging programmer eh. Kasi importante siya eh, na language. Kunwari, syempre, there's .NET programmers, PHP programmers, Java programmers, mga ganon. Pero here's the secret. Maraming tao gusto malaman kung anong pinakasikat na language, pero sa totoo lang, walang nag-hire ng mga gantong programmer. .NET programmers, PHP programmers, Java programmers. Companies hire programmers, period. Wala kaming pakialam sa programming language na alam mo, ang pakialam namin is, again, kung nakakasolve ka ng problems. Kasi kadalasan, honestly, I've been in the industry for 9 years, over 9 years. Marami kasi iniisip nila, pag okay, marunong na ang Hello World, marunong na ako ng PHP, marunong na mag Hello World sa Java, marunong na mag Java. Ganun kasi yung dating ng mga ibang tao eh. Pag natuto na ako ng isang language, okay na ako. Kikita na ako limpak-limpak na sa labi. Pero yun nga, you're there to solve problems. Kung hindi ka marunong mag-solve ng problems, kunwari, in-interview ka or nasa isang job ka, bilang sinabi sa'yo, mag-develop ka ng isang web-based inventory system or small retail chain or binigyan ka ng problema, you're not a web developer, mobile app developer ka, gawa ka ng mobile app for surveying with geolocation support and automated data upload. Or even just your average parang preliminary interview question, gawa ka ng simpleng to-do list app. So you'll see here the common thing eh. Wala tayong pakialam sa language. Ang pakialam natin is kung kinamote ka sa mga tanong nun, wala akong pakialam kung marunong ka sa isang dosenang languages. If you can't solve problems with any of those languages, it doesn't really matter that much. Okay, and besides, kung marunong ka na programmer, madali lang matuto ng mga language. Kunwari, ako, pwede ako matuto ng Lua. Hindi pa ako marunong mag-Lua, pero marunong makatuto ng Lua, makatuto ng Seiko, or Rust in a couple of hours at most. Kasi nga, marami na akong experience with other languages and experience in using them in professional settings. Anyway, next. Credentials. So, nakita na yung two main misconceptions, yung bakit kayo nandito, ano yung purpose nyo, and also yung language, the whole language question na nakakasuka na kasi madalas tinatanong ng mga bata. Next thing is more of again, another misconception is yung credentials. The thing is, ang IT industry natin is more of a meritocracy. Ano ba itong ibig sabihin ng meritocracy na to? So, ang pinakaiba sa mga IT professionals na kumikita ng limpak-limpak na salapi at yung mga IT professionals na kumakamit ng ulo ay it's not about the number of certificates. It's not about kung saang college ka, saang university ka na nag-graduate. Ang importante, again, in a meritocracy, ang importante is marunong kang gumawa ng pinapagawa sa'yo. Or kailangan, again, we go back, ay marunong kang gumawa ng programs that solve problems. So again, we don't really care about kung meron kang 100 certificates or pumunta sa iba't ibang bansa at natuto ka ng nakakuha ng ganito karaming diploma. If you can't really do what you're supposed to do, parang doktor ka na, okay, marami na-graduate ako sa ganito, pero hindi ako marunong maggawa ng first aid. Yan nga, kalokohan na yan. So, ang ano na yan is, paano ka makakuha ng knowledge na yan? Kasi syempre sinabi ko, kailangan mo ng knowledge, kailangan mo ng experience. So how do you get that? Well, first off, madali lang. Kasi nasa college kayo, huwag niyo sayangin yung college show. Huwag kayo masyadong magpakasaya at marami na kayo ng friends, medyo marami kayong freedom. Huwag niyo sayangin yung opportunity na yun. You have a lot of opportunities in college to learn. Pumasok kayo, huwag kayong pumasok kayo sa mga classes nyo, study well, submit your coursework, and huwag kayo magkopyahan, and all that. Take advantage of college. However, obviously college is not enough. Dito kayo para to learn the fundamentals, you have to expand from that fundamentals. So, yung mga bagay na yun, you learn it outside college. So, what can you do outside college? Well, first is you can explore. So, kadalasan kasi you're just going to learn a couple of platforms, a couple of languages dito sa college. Outside college, there are a lot of frameworks, a lot of tools, a lot of languages out there. And ang maganda sa kanila, lahat ng mga icons na to are usually free. If not totally free and open source, they're free for use. So you really don't have an excuse nowadays, kasi nga widespread na yung internet, hindi gaya nung panahon ko na panahon pa ng mga floppy and all that crap. Na mahirap talaga maghanap ng tools for that, pati mga libro. Right now, you have all the opportunity to learn outside. Also, stay up to date. You're going to have to start learning to know kung saan kayo maghahanap ng news about latest trends in technology. I think pinaka-obvious na ngayon is hacker news. Just search hacker news sa internet. That's news.ycombinator.com, or there are other sites like Ars Technica, InfoQ, or whatever. Just make sure na yun niya, stay up to date. Huwag lang kayo basta-basta kung anong tinuro sa inyo, yun na inaalam mo. Kasi kung ganun lang kayo, usually, well, mapapag-iwanan kayo, sobrang bilis ng pace ng industry natin. And also collaborate. There's mas madali na ngayon mag-collaborate with other coders or even look at other people's code, especially panahon na yan, meron GitHub. It's a lot easier to participate in open source ngayon. So just go to GitHub and pwede ka mag-search sa repositories doon, or you can upload your programs there or your code there. And yun nga, hindi lang basta-basta rito na pag nakuha kayo ng code, parang okay, tatapon nyo na. You don't really know kung ano yung good code and bad code. So you have to learn to do that. Look at other people's code. And finally, I think, final na yan sa part na to, is yung participate. Again, apart from madali nang matuto ng languages ngayon kasi maraming libre, ang maganda ngayon sa Metro Manila, napakaraming user group meetups, napakaraming events. Kunwari ngayon, meron ngayon event dito, obviously you're here. Meron rin event ngayon sa SMX, yung Y4IT. Meron pang mga event, may event pa dun sa, saan ba yung sa staff? Basta, maraming events ngayong linggo. It's all up to you just to know where those are. So, there's a lot of groups. Kunwari, punta kayo sa devcon.ph, may mga events. Webgeek.ph, they post events rin. And so on. Meron akong bibigay na link mamaya. Doon yung mga Facebook groups. You just go there and gusto niyo sumali kayo sa mga Facebook group na yan. And keep in touch kung ano yung mga upcoming meetups and all that. Anyway, this is the last part ng talk natin, is yung final misconception, just to prepare you about what they expect after college. So yung problema, when you're in college, iba yung problems, iba yung, sabihin natin, yung approach natin sa problems in college compared when you are in the real world. So, ito, what awaits you after college? Kasi sa college, yun nga, for example, sa college, meron kayong pinapagawang assignment, may pinapagawa kayong machine problem, kailangan nyo siyang submit in 1 month. Obviously, ang ginagawa sa inyo, pag binigay sa iyo, yun nga, 1 month deadline, gagawin nyo, say, the night before, or 3 days before, or even 1 hour before, may topa kayo, or kinopya nyo lang sa kasama nyo. So yeah, that's normal for you, and after that, you submit it, the professor grades it, and tapon niya na yung code nyo, and all that. However, in the real world, it's not so simple. Kasi kunwari sa real world, binigyan ka na isang project, okay, ito, gawin mo tong project na to, deadline yan is 1 month from now. Say, ginawa mo yung kalokohan na ginagawa mo sa college, which is, sige, let's make it more conservative. You finish it the day before. Okay, ano tayo, advance tayo. Pero, in the real world, yun nga, what if, okay, nasubmit mo na, biglang nung binasa na, rini-review na ng kliyente mo, 2 hours before the deadline, ay, mali pala yung binigay namin, buti nakita nyo. Kailangan mong baguhin to, pero hindi namin pwede mabago yung deadline. Okay? So, yun nga, kamot na lang ng ulo, parang hindi yung nangyayari sa college, yun yung nangyayari sa high school na, okay, binigyan ka na requirements, bigla lang magbabago isip ng kliyente mo, and hindi nababago yung deadline and all that crazy stuff. So, in the real world, it's not so simple. You're going to face a lot of wicked problems. Tinatawag na wicked problems na actually you're asked to do the impossible. And you're asked to do that on a daily basis. And I know that kasi I think for the past few days, I've been asked to do the impossible rin. So, how do you deal with that? Siyempre, hindi naman tayo mga magikero or mga genie at nagagawa na imposible. Ayun nga, kung ayaw nyo maniwala, there are some sites that prove that. Pero point is, how to deal with that is, babalik tayo dun sa isang slide na nilagay ko kanina. Which is, you have to understand how to solve human problems. Kasi nga, ayun nga, ang way lang, the only way to deal with those mukhang imposibleng situation is to understand how your client thinks and how to make a compromise. It's more of paano mo aaregloan yung problema. Kasi yun nga, you're here to solve problems, hindi mo ma-solve yung problem, paano na i-solve yung problem na yun in such a way na hindi tayo parehong lose-lose situation. We can reach a compromise. So dito na pumapasok yung importance ng soft skills, which is yung people skills, communication skills, project management and all that. Hindi lang basta-basta programming, magaling ka mag-program, magaling ka na IT professional. Hindi yan nangyayari. Usually, you're going to have to be both good in the technical side and also good in yun nga, communication, social skills, and all that. Kasi otherwise, yun nga, you can't really solve problems kung hindi mo kayang kausapin ng maayos yung kliyente mo, hindi nyo kayang areglohan. And actually, ang magandang solution dun sa before na situation is dapat sinasubmit nyo yung kinaklarify nyo na mabuti sa kliyente habang sinasolve nyo yung problem. Which is, again, it's all about communication. And that's where the misconception comes. Kasi maraming iniisip na yun nga, mainstream media, sinasabi nila na mga IT, mga geek yan, mga hindi marunong ano sa mga tao. But in reality, hindi talaga ganun. You're going to have to learn social skills, soft skills, and all that in order to become successful. Anyway, yun na yun. So, medyo short lang siya. Yun nga, lightning talk. 4 major misconceptions na nakikita natin. And if you want to see that, that's up in my speaker deck, speakerdeck.com, Bryan Bibat. And yung sinabi kong links dun sa mga Facebook groups, there's that link, bit.ly, PH Dev Groups. Version 1 kasi binabago-bago ko pa yan. Baka may madagdag pa ako later on. Anyway, so that's it. Thank you for listening. And questions? I think may time tayo for questions. Questions?
Yeah, ng freebies po ito?
Namimigay kami ng freebies sa mga taong matatapang na nagtatanong. Ano, mga galing sa mga ballpen, mga t-shirt. Kumamaya pa ba yung t-shirt? Ballpen. Baka naubusan kayo din ng ballpen. Questions?
Anyone, CCS student, you're free to ask questions.
Any questions? Kahit hindi consider sa to, related, ako wala akong alam sa mobile. I'm more of a web and enterprise development side. So, pero professional work, okay lang. Even computer science, medyo biyasa rin ako sa part na yan. Questions?
Questions? Magandang kwento. Stock exchange, galing from Stock Overflow.
Stack Overflow pen, parang... Wala akong maisip na joke. Questions?
Yes, grabe. Ayan.
Right.
Good afternoon po. Yung pagiging programmer po ba napakahirap?
Depende. Lahat naman ng profession is it depends dun sa tao. Meron mga, kunwari ako, I like solving problems, kaya natural fit sa akin kasi I did solving problems. If you're on the creative side, syempre pwede ka maging designer and all that. But of course, if you're on the creative side, then pinapagawa ka ng sobrang technical, sobrang number crunching and all that, syempre mahirap para sa iyo yun. So, I guess, yes, mahirap siya in some cases. There are a lot of things na mahirap sa kanya. Kunwari ako, wala pa akong tulog ngayon dahil dito sa event na to. But again, all professions have that. And ang maganda sa IT is, since medyo broad siya, you can find your niche. Kung saan ka magaling, doon ka pumunta. Again, kung nasa like a designer, kung you're more of the creative side, you can go for design. So, para mababawasan yung kinocode mo, you're more of the coding part and more of the building yung designs rather than purely coding. Pero kung masaya ka, gaya ko, masaya ako sa back-end development, which is number crunching, business logic, and all that. So, madali para sa akin yan. So, yun. Wala naman siya pinagkaya sa iba sa ibang profession, matutusin. Other questions? Right? Yan.
Since sinabi niyo po na you need to some projects may fail because of the poor communication rather than the poor programming. Ganun po, paano niyo po ma-deal yung mga groupmates mo? Kasi all of us, some of us here, na meron ding mga conflicts sa groupmates na hirap kausapin. Diba? Ewan ko lang, natawag sa langit, no?
Actually, yes.
Alam ang sitwasyon na tayo. Tapos, paano din po nila, papabayaan niya na lang din ba siya na gumawa ng sarili niya or magsasalo ka na lang din?
Yun, that's a good question about yun nga, mga groupmates na hindi maayos yung gawa, bilang parang nadadrag down kayo and all that. There are many ways to solve that. Ang maganda sa when you're working in a professional situation, ang maganda dun is pwede mo i-escalate sa manager. Oh, ito, parang lalaglagin mo yung kasama mo. Hindi naman niya nagtatrabaho. Parang gano'n. You can do that in this setting, laglag nyo sa professor nyo. Hindi naman tatrabaho to, paibagsak nga yan. Pero that would be masyado ng ano na yun eh. Masyadong harsh na yun. So there are many ways. Kunwari, pwede nyo siyang, sige, mag-inuman tayo dyan muna sa labas, bilang malaman natin kung anong problema mo. May problema ka ba sa love life kaya hindi ka makakode, mga ganong bagay. Hindi, there are a lot of ways and I don't think I can explain it all. Kaya nga maganda, when you're still in college, you're exposed to not only within the college. It's good to have outside stuff. Kunwari, outside organization or even college organizations. Kasi usually, in a classroom setting na mas madali siyang actually bulayin as opposed to when you're in a say, in an organization, kunwari may pinagawa sa inyo, kunwari pinagawa sa inyo itong event na to, bigla nagkakaproblema, doon nyo matututunan yung mga iba't ibang techniques to deal with people. And yun, hindi ko siya may explain dito kasi there's so many techniques yun. Worst case, laglagay niya na lang. Okay, I think, yeah, questions. I think we can have 2 more questions.
Tanong ko lang po kung nag-offer ng DevCon ng free training challenge tutorial outside campus.
We have code camps. Kunwari, in the past few months, we had an iOS code camp. That's puro mga overview iOS, we had Android, we had Rails, we had Django. Ano pa yung upcoming natin? BlackBerry, Python, and all that. So, punta lang sa website, join our, follow us on Twitter, meron kayong mga binibigay na gano'n. Pero to be honest, medyo overview siya kasi mahirap talaga in just one day ituro mo yung iOS. That's not really practical. It's just, libre siya, ang maganda libre siya. And it gives you an opportunity to have an overview, parang higher level understanding kung ano yung about kung ano yung technology and all that. Anyway, last question. Kung may other questions kayo, pwede nyo lapitan mamaya after the event kasi nagbe-video ako dyan kaya medyo busy ako. Oh, sige, last question.
Sir, Dapina. I mean, question is, but hindi siya related actually sa software side. I just want to look for your video. Ano sir, how do you find ba yung mga persons naman from hardware side? Diba nakakatrabaho nyo rin po sila? Parang, how do you see them?
In what sense? Anong klaseng hardware side?
Especially po yung mga technicals po. Di ba po, pag software? Like,
Depende kasi. Kung hardware, meron embedded systems. Natrabaho na rin ng konting embedded systems. And mukha nang wala namang problema. Ang pinaka-closest to hardware side would be sysads. Working with sysad, kasi sila yung nagsiset up ng mga server. And the thing is, I'm a full stack web developer. I am actually DevOps, so pinaghalo yung role ko as developer and sysad. So, syempre, kung kaaway ko sysad, at parang kinaaway ko na rin sarili ko. But point is, ano lang naman yan again, people skills. Kung nagkakaroon kayo ng away, syempre, mapapag-usapan na yan. There's really no reason, especially if you're working on the same company, especially if you're working on the same team, there's really no reason na magkaalitan kayo. Kaya, gagawa nyo dapat ng paraan, kaysa naman parang nagkakaproblema na yung server, nag-crash na yung server nyo, biglang hindi kayo pinapansin ng sysad nyo kasi yun nga, na-bad trip siya sa'yo, parang wala kayo, lahat rin kayo madadali. So, there's really not much, there's not supposed to be a rivalry between the software side and the hardware side. Okay? So, that's the last question. Kung may questions kayo, I think after the event niya lang itanong sa akin kasi video nga ako. And so, thank you for listening. And have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Bryan. So, lahat siguro tayo, mga nandito, especially sa mga CCS student na gumagawa ng thesis, nakarelate tayo kay Mr. Bryan.